So today we are going to be replacing the front passenger axle shaft on a 2012 JK Rubicon. This video will be the same if you have the Sport with the Dana 30. Doesn't matter if it's a 30 or 44, driver or passenger side, it's basically the same. Passenger axle shaft is a little longer than the driver. So this is the one that we are doing it to here. I've already taken out the old one that was in really bad shape. The tools that you're going to need: a ratcheting wrench, 3/8 is what I have, a number 5 hex bit for the wheel speed sensor, 36 or 35 millimeter socket for your axle nut. I do 36. A 21 millimeter for your brake caliper bolts. This 3/4 is just for the lug nuts on my wife's Jeep, but you may have like a lug nut key that you use. And then a 13 or a 12.13 3/8 socket for the wheel hub assembly. So 13 but 12 point. And then something that makes it a little easier is a couple different size extensions to help get to the wheel hub assembly bolts. If you have a 1/2 inch ratchet, that could come in handy too for taking off your 21 and 36 millimeter bolts. And then a torque wrench that goes up to 120 foot-pounds minimum. And then a marker for your nuts if you want to mark them. Some zip ties, something to cut the zip ties. Some sort of bar to keep the rotor from rotating while you're taking off and putting on your axle nut, and a dead blow hammer or a small sledgehammer will work too, to knock off the wheel hub assembly from the knuckle. We're going to start by breaking these lug nuts free. Now that they're loose, we're going to jack the Jeep up. So now that we've got the tire off, this is where your axle nut would be. And right now is when you would want to break that axle nut free using your 36 millimeter. Stick it on here, break it free. The rotor's going to want to spin, so what you would need to do is either have someone get in the Jeep and apply the brakes and then break this free, or what you can do is grab a bar of some sort and stick in here just like that, so that when you are applying pressure or torque here, the bar will keep this from spinning. That's what I normally do. Now we need to take the brake caliper and rotor off with your size 21. So we've got one bolt here, and then we've got a second one right below it, right here. One bolt out, grabbing the second one. It helps to hold on to it with your hand so there's not pressure on it. It's easier to unscrew. Now that it's almost out, I'm going to go ahead and cut these zip ties holding the speed sensor on, and grab the number 5 hex bit. that one, this one, and yours may not have zip ties on it. You could have the factory little metal bracket thing that holds it. I typically don't like those. I just take them off. So this is your speed sensor wire here. You can see mine is chewed up from, I guess, making contact with the rotor. The Jeep shop that installed this axle didn't do a very good job with that. So I'm going to pull this out. I just need my extension. Hope you can see in there. But yeah, I got that little tiny bolt out. So this is the old speed sensor. It's damaged. I'm going to pull it out. Set it to the side. I'm going to keep the caliper on the rotor. And just take this off. And I'm going to set it to the side. You can hang it with zip ties or something if you need to. But I think that's going to be fine. It's not tension on it. Oh, okay. One thing I forgot. 13 millimeter 12 point to get the bearing off. 13. It's going to be this one. There's 3 of them. Sometimes they can be really difficult if they're really rusted on there. And I have actually snapped one of these before. So it's really good to have a couple new ones handy just in case. That way it doesn't delay your project if it does seize up. We'll get in from the other side. A little easier access. And I'm going to break this one free. That's all 3 of them. And now I will leave one of these in a little ways so it still has threads in the bearing, because you're going to need to break that bearing free from the knuckle, and that can be a little challenging sometimes. I just need a hammer. So I've got this soft blow hammer here. I'm going to hit outwards and kind of work my way around. See how it's creating this little crack here, but it's still going to be tight down here. So you want to get different angles on it. Switch sides. There we go. So now that we've got this broke free, we can take this bolt the rest of the way out. Just like that. And now it's time to put in the new axle shaft. That didn't work very well at stopping that from leaking, but better than nothing. Grab the new one here. Make sure it's clean. So I'm going to gently slide this in. keeping it propped up with my left hand as best I can so it's not dragging. And as we get close to the differentials, there's going to be a seal. And we want to lift up and get in that seal without knocking it out of place. There we go. All right, so now we're in. It's engaged, I can feel it. So make sure it's fully seated. Now we can put it all back together. I'm going to get this lined up. I have a little bit of an extension here to help me get in there easier. So I'm going to turn this wheel a little bit. It should give me access here. And then I'm going to have to turn the other way to get that upper one. I'm going to replace the speed sensor while I'm here. My old one is damaged. This end is going to go into the unit bearing. This other end runs up the brake line here and goes behind your shock mount. You see these two little plastic pieces here? They go right through the metal there. So on the top side, it's going to be a little red tab that you're going to have to get off and pull this out. Okay, so here it is here. Got the red tab pulled back. And this little black part here, we're going to press down on that and pull these apart from each other. Like so. You can see there's a little tab here that prevents you from just pulling it off. So you have to press down on that black piece to lift it over that tab and pull it off. So we're going to grab the new one, go ahead and connect it here. Oops. Like this. Make sure it's on there good. Press that red tab in. There we go, I heard it click. I really had to press it in there. Now we're going to put those little tabs through there again. And this will run down with the brake line and then into our unit bearing. And so how you mount this is really up to you. You can go through this way, stick it in here, and then zip tie it wherever, probably like right here to the knuckle. So we want to get this little nut back in here, or a little bolt, before we put the caliper on. And this gets torqued in inch pounds, and I don't remember what it is, like 12 or something. It's plastic. It doesn't take a whole lot. I'm just going to snug it up like that. Now we're going to put the rotor and caliper back on. I know this rotor is toast. I'm going to be doing the brakes here probably next weekend. Grab our 21mm bolt, stick it through the caliper at the top, and then grab the bottom one, stick it through the bottom. Again, using my other hand to support the caliper to take that weight off so it's easier to thread the bolt on. And then these will get torqued to 120 foot-pounds with your 21mm socket. So we are going to 120 foot-pounds. Upper one, the lower one. I'm going to recheck. And recheck. So now we're going to zip tie the speed sensor wire to the knuckle here. And you know what? I want to use 2 zip ties for this because it's a little tight. This will make my life a little easier. So I'm going to get it positioned where I'm zip tying on this rubber piece, not on the actual wire. And right on the side of this little ridge there. Make sure that's nice and tight. Don't want it moving. And now we're going to cut off the excess. Okay, so I have it zip tied up. It's not touching the rotor. It's secure to the knuckle. Zip tied it along the brake line coming up, and then I had some extra that I just kind of folded over and used a couple zip ties. That way it's not going to touch the catalytic converter, and as long as it's along your brake line, you don't have to worry about droop. This is never going to droop so much that it comes off, so if your speed sensor is attached to it, you're fine. So the next step is going to be putting the axle nut back on with your 36mm at 100 foot-pounds. Axle nut. It's going to be torqued to 100 foot-pounds. See how it starts rotating? We're going to need to put a bar under here, just like how you took it off, but opposite direction, or have someone apply pressure to the brakes. And then it's a good idea to take a pen and make a line here. So I just use this Sharpie Mean Streak permanent marking stick, but I know there's better things out there, but this works for me. And put a mark here. Now I can tell at a glance if this has moved, if it's come loose, and you'll want to check it, you know, after 100 miles or so, just make sure everything looks good. You should check all the torque specs with everything after about 100. I just come through, retorque everything, make sure everything's good. So now we're just going to put the tire back on, lug nuts back on, I do my lug nuts at 90 foot-pounds, and then you take it off the jack and you're good to go.